Welcome back to the next vlog. I think this is vlog number 4 for the Billy Meier Books YouTube channel. Thank you to all the subscribers of the channel. Really appreciate you following along. And this update will be a question and answer session. I have the questions that were posted over the last couple days, and I'm here to answer them. So let's get started. First one is Chlorianopolis 2002. His question was, could you find out what the Pleiadians are saying these days about Trump, Elon Musk, and the attempts of putting an end to the war in Ukraine? Seems like they've just been quiet about these topics lately. Unfortunately, this channel is about the teaching of the truth, teaching of the creation nature, teaching of life, Billy's books, specifically about the spiritual teaching. So I don't answer these types of questions. I can tell you that if you read the contact notes, you can go to Future of Mankind and read the contact notes in English. There's quite a bit of what you're looking for to learn in the contact notes. So you can read them there. They're translated from German into English already, and that'd be a good place to find an answer to that question. The next one is Billy Wilson, 948. Thank you. As a passive member joining with the core members, can you share your insights into the meditation side of going to the SSSC Center? I have no knowledge of vlogs. Is there a link for a more direct connection than YouTube? Where were you able to share in the peace meditation on Saturday? Thank you, Billy. Okay, so Billy, you can. There's 2 ways you can contact me. If you look in the, it's not a website, it's the YouTube. If you look under YouTube under About, you should be able to find my email, but I can just tell you it here. It's mike.whelan@billymeierbooks.com. So it's my first name dot my last name at billymeierbooks.com. It's as simple as that. You can write to me that way. However, I do prefer communications, especially questions in a in a format online. And the Future of Mankind website also has a forum. And if you go to the Future of Mankind website forum, they have put a special section that says Billy Meier Books. I think it's in yellow. It's at the bottom there. If you go into there and click and post questions there, I do answer them. I do answer all questions there. And actually, I do prefer that as a format because so many people ask the same questions over and over again. And it saves me a lot of time to post in a public forum, so the answer's there, for as long as the forum's there, and I don't have to write emails to answer the same questions because I do get a lot of emails. So anyway, if you could post your questions, that's the best direct way to contact me. Of course, for the next 2 weeks, I'm in Switzerland. I won't be able to do that. But after that, if you go to the Future of Mankind forum and post in the area that says Billy Meier Books, I'm happy to answer any question for you there. And then your last question, were you able to share the peace meditation on Saturday? So the peace meditation is on the 1st and 3rd weekends of the month. I arrived at the center on May 22nd, so that was already after the 3rd weekend. So the next peace meditation won't be until the June 1st meeting. It's like June 6th or something, 5th, 6th, something. It's like that. So the first weekend in June, that would be the next one. I will be there for that, but I have not. For this trip, I have not participated in the peace meditation at the center. So that answers all your questions. Next one is from In the Federal Reserve. That's interesting. I thank you for your great and valuable work. I have a simple question request. Perhaps I haven't looked in the correct place or searched the correct terms. I'm trying to find the name of a certain plant. I believe it's indigenous to Asia and used as a male contraceptive. I'm sure I read about its benefits and recommendations in Billy's material. I just can't find it. If you could help find it, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again, Salome. I have no idea. Sorry about that. I have no idea about, plants or names of plants or, sorry about that. In the Federal Reserve, I simply don't know. Next question is from Tom TGC. What does Billy Meier say about the secret space program? What is Billy Meier's perspective on other individuals such as Elena Danaan, who claim to be in current contact with extraterrestrials? Has Billy Meier indicated whether the Pleiadians intend to coordinate with other extraterrestrial groups for official disclosure to humanity? Feel free to share your own opinion since Billy doesn't answer questions now. Okay, so the first thing is this question is about the teaching of the truth, teaching of the creation energy, teaching of life. I answer questions related to that. Secret space program, he's written about that in different contexts, so you'll have to just look that up. I don't know who Elena Danan is, who claims to have contact with extraterrestrial. Probably doesn't, but I don't know, so I couldn't say for sure. Has Billy Meier indicated what players intend to coordinate with other extraterrestrial groups for an official disclosure to humanity? So we already missed that opportunity. That was supposed to take place in 2010. They were going to do a sort of an official contact. It wouldn't be the Pleiadians. It would have been someone more closer to our evolutionary level, still in their federation, but it wouldn't have been the Pleiadians. It would have been another extraterrestrial group that would have made contact. Official contact with people here on Earth. That was due to happen in 2010. It was canceled because we continue to be too warlike and just really going the wrong way. We don't take any advice. We don't make any changes for the better. We continue to kill each other. They just decided we're just too barbarous. I know it hurts to be called barbarians, but that's what we are. So that project for open contact was canceled. It was scheduled for 2010, and it never took place. So sorry for the bad news. That answers all your questions, Tom TGC. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it. The next one is from Arivine P9967. Hi, Mike. I'm excited to learn more from your upcoming vlogs and interviews with members. My question: imagine the evolutionary scale of creation. Aha, I've read this one before. This question, I got lost on your math when you started doing all the math and everything. I'm not really quite sure what you're driving at on this question, at least on the first part. On the second part, is it the same as a human whose planet's a tree which bears fruit, and once the fruit grows and ripens, he consumes the fruit for his energy? So does our creation energy is like the fruit which the creation consumes for its evolution and ceases to exist, or will the creation energy survive and maintain its uniqueness after merging with the creation? Salome Arivin. So thank you for the question. So the first part of that, I wasn't really sure what you're getting on with the IDs and the numbers and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I just couldn't follow along. If you want to rephrase it and repost it, I'm happy to answer it. The second part of your question: when our spirit forms finish the physical cycle of evolution and go to merge back into the first level of the creation, the Arahata Tarsata level, for a pure spiritual existence, it doesn't get consumed. Our spirit form doesn't get consumed by creation. Our spirit form goes and joins what's called a we form. So it's no longer an individual, but it's part of a group of consciousnesses or creation energy forms that Billy has called a we form. So then in this we form, these groups of spirit forms continue to evolve and gather information and probably share and work together and do all kinds of things. I'm imagining that part. But no, the creation does not consume the spirit form. When the spirit form comes back into creation, it becomes part of a we form and continues evolving. So that's how that takes place. Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. Next one is TVOE Talks. Excellent questions. I have often wondered about Ilana, as she claims to have direct contact with the Pleiadian, which Edward has stated in many contact reports as being false. No. The Pleiadians have contact with no other person other than Billy, and they have said this 20, 30, 40 times in the contact notes. I don't know how many times. It's their policy when they go into contact with somebody on a planet, any planet, they always only contact one person because too many cooks spoil the broth. I'm sure you can gather from that, what that means and everything. But no, if this, I don't know who this is, but if Elena is claiming to have contacts with the Pleiadian, that's simply not true. So anyway, thank you for your question. Tom TGC, hey, this is your second question, but I'll answer it. What does Billy Meier say about the secret space program? Did you ask this twice? I've already answered this, so I'll skip it. Next one, Andy Oxman, Oexmann. When will Billy release the book Om in English? Thanks. I love all the info you provide on Billy and Figu. Andy O. Andy O, thank you for the question. Appreciate it. To my knowledge, the Om is not being translated. It's not a book that's in current translation. There are other books. Genesis is, I think, complete being translated. It's just in the correction process. The National Canadian group is working on that. I also know that Billy Meier's second meditation book, Meditation from a Clear Perspective or from a Clear Sight, however that title is going to go. I know that Vivian is working on that, corrections and things like that. I don't know when that'll be out, so I know those two books. But the Om, that's a very difficult book in German. It's written in a very, very old style. And the closest thing I can tell you about it, do you remember the old Bibles? I don't know if it's the King James or whatever, where the language would be, thou art, shall do this to thee, this type of thing. That's how the Om is written in the old German style, in that old they, thou, shall, those kinds of things. So I don't even know how you translate that. I mean, it would be so difficult. So to answer your question is, to my knowledge, and maybe somebody's working on it that I don't know, the Om is not under consideration for translation. And there's many other books that would be far more helpful for our knowledge and growth than the Om would be. So sorry, that's the best answer I could give you on that. So thank you for the question. Really appreciate it. The next one is TVO Talks. Okay. I think you asked one already, but you got a second one in, so it's the same with the other guy. Okay. Hi, Mike. I have a few questions. The Pleiadians have said that once Edward passes away, they will no longer have direct contacts with humans. That is correct. And subsequently, they have stated they will no longer be in contact with Earth humans past 2029. Reading between the lines, it would suggest that Edward not be alive past 2029. Do I know anything about this? I don't. I mean, you could probably, read between the lines like you said. What you did say, the Pleiadians said that once Billy passes away, they will no longer have contact with any Earth humans. That is correct. They have said that on many occasions. So once Billy passes, that'll be it. We'll be left to our own, and we'll have to just take the information, the books that he's left us with, and sort of forge on, on our own. Question number 2. If we are all bound to this planet through reincarnation over millions of years until we reach pure spirit form, what is the purpose of each reincarnation if each time we hit the reset button? I'm assuming you mean death. And what determines our readiness to graduate to spirit form or to keep us riding the reincarnation carousel? Okay, so there's 2 points here. So what is the purpose of each reincarnation cycle? So for us to evolve, for us to learn things and know all the things we need to know to sort of graduate to the next level, whatever that may be, it takes many, 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 many lifetimes. Not just, you can't, even if you had read all of Billy's books in one lifetime, which is, it would be a feat in itself. There's no way you could absorb all the knowledge you would need to gather. And I don't know if you've noticed this, if you've read Billy's books. If you read one of his books and then you come back, say a few weeks or a month later and you read it again, you'll learn something new. Every time you reread one of Billy's books, you learn something new. That's how deep and important they are. So the purpose of having so many reincarnations and hitting the reset button, as you said, the death, is because we need so much time. It takes so long to evolve. If you can imagine, if you start working on yourself, let's say, to try to become more humble, or to reduce your ego, or to have more empathy, or any of those things, to change those in our lives take an enormous amount of time. You can start to change, and you can see certain changes in yourself as you move along, but it takes years and years and years to make an effective change, something you can say, hey, I've put the majority of that behind it, and it still happens. So the reason for this is because evolution, the growth of our consciousness, takes so many thousands and millions of years. So that's why we have this cycle, because the body won't live that long. The body will live, at least ours, 100 years. In the case of the Pleiadians, maybe 1,000 years, but we're talking millions and millions of years because it takes so long to evolve. That's why we're in this cycle. And what determines the readiness to graduate the spirit? It's just, the exact answer to that, I don't know, but it's just a process of evolution. It's slowly adding to every lifetime. The wisdom and the knowledge you gain just slowly adds and adds and adds. What ticks it over to the next level, so to speak, I don't know. I honestly don't know what that is, but I can just tell you it's a gradual process through each lifetime. So thank you for your questions. Next one is from Piali. Hey there, how are you? I hope everything's going well. Solomon, Mike, I have a question, and that is praying to the consciousness and praying to the personality one and the same? That's interesting. I came across a post on Facebook once where the poster wrote that we pray to our personality, which had seemed rather odd to me. That seems odd to me too. His argument was that since the consciousness is also the personality, it's okay to say we pray to our personality. In Billy's translated books, it is sometimes written that the consciousness is the same as the personality. I think in Might of the Thoughts he has said that. However, sometimes there's also an and between consciousness and personality, as in the consciousness and the personality, from which I understand that even though at some level the consciousness and the personality is one and the same, but at another level is difference. That perhaps there is an outer personality and inner personality. I've never read that. I don't know anything about outer personality or inner personality. Anything that I've read, I've never seen that. So, you might mean something different on that. I have learned that we pray, or rather speak to our consciousness. So have I. That's what I understand. So that post sort of threw me off. I would love clarification on this. Sometimes I feel that unless we have studied every single one of Billy's books, we will not get the full understanding of what is and what is not in its entirety. I know, right? It's so deep and complex. Thank you so much for the vlogs and the question and answer sessions, Salome. So, I always butchered your name, right? Piali. I agree with you. When you say the posters pray to our personality, that seems odd to me as well. I honestly, I don't know the answer to this, but that does seem odd because, the personality is something that we create each time. We have a new one, and then through all of our experiences and, where we grew up and our knowledge, our evolution, the personality is created by us, through all these things. So to pray to that, I would probably just have to say, back to probably to the consciousness is probably what I've read and what I remember. Though I have to say, at the end of the day, if somebody wants to say that, and maybe that works for them. I mean, is it really, is it really a battle worth fighting? Over time, we learn more and more. And at the end of the day, if he's a seeker, whoever this poster was, and continues to seek and look and find answers, which is part of our evolutionary process, is something that each of us has to do, he'll find the answers. He'll find the answer to that question. I agree with you. It does seem odd. I don't know the answer, if that's right or wrong. Consciousness is correct, the material consciousness, to pray to that, but the personality, I don't know. That's a good one. It's not sure on that one, but thank you so much for the answer. I hope you and your husband and your son are doing well. Okay, Mick Brown, 1975. I'd like to know if there is only one universal prophet in the creation, or if each of the 7 universes of a creation has its own universal prophet assigned to it. How does the prophet or prophetess find all of the civilizations spread out in the expanse of the material belt in our Dune universe, Freudian slip, in our Dern universe, let alone 6 other universes of our mother creation? I don't know. Sorry, Mick Brown. I don't know. If the universal prophet won in each, it would seem to me, just by the sheer number, so I'm guessing now, right? I don't know from reading or something like that. It would seem to me, by the sheer number of planets and civilizations, probably in the whole universe, right? Millions and billions or whatever, probably one would not be enough. That would just be my guess. I have not read, in Billy's material, if there's more than one or something like that. I would suspect that there are probably multiple, because there's so many different planets and civilizations and things like that. So, but that's just my guess. And then your second part, am I wrong to assume that all human societies or civilizations need to be taught or be informed of the creational teachings to evolve successfully? For full evolution, probably. Over time, more advanced civilizations visit less advanced civilizations, like's happening here with the Pleiadian coming to the Earth, and that happens all over the universe. So these teachings, the teachings of the truth, teachings of the creation energy, and teachings of life, are passed down or handed, or however you want to call it, disseminated on planets as they become evolved enough to handle the information. So I would say that's the answer on that one. Is that, yeah, they would probably, for full evolution, they would need to know that, be informed of the creational teachings, and that seems like that happens on a pretty regular basis. The higher evolved ones teach the lower evolved ones, as is happening here. So thank you for your question, Mick Brown. Appreciate it. And that is the last one. Thank you so much for your questions. I'm happy to answer more if you'd like to post more questions in the comments down below. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do a translation of Billy's lecture from Saturday. It has some new information. I'm going to try to prepare that for tomorrow. And then if more questions come in, I'm happy to do one later in the week. Today is Tuesday night, May 27th. And thank you so much again for joining me. And if you have any questions, put them in there. Otherwise, we'll see you soon. Stay tuned for more vlogs. And thank you for being a subscriber on the Billy Meier Books YouTube channel. See you later.